All right, what's happening, guys? So this is going to be a little different video, maybe than you guys are used to, just on the subject matter. But I think it all relates back to crypto, and I'm excited to talk to you guys about capitalism, right? So this is a word that is, I think, clearly misunderstood by millions of people, right? I think even if you just take time to look what the actual words mean of capitalism or socialism, and you were to ask, let's say, 100 people on the street, the answers you get would actually tend to surprise you, right? I think many people. I did it when I was back in LA. I asked a few people. I said, "What does capitalism mean to you?" And they said, "Oh, it's where just a few people make all the money, and then a bunch of people just are forced to work for them." And then you ask what socialism is, and like because they hear the word social and then ism, they think, well, it's this it's this ism that is about society, and then it's the better way for people to live a better life. And I think that those could not be further from the truth. So I think it's important to start and establish with the actual definition of what capitalism is. Then I'll give you guys sort of my personal description of how I think it's used in real life and why it's sort of clearly obvious once you hear this definition of it. And then run to a sort of a common mistake I think many people misinterpret capitalism as, and then one other thing at the end. So what is it, right? So it's an economic and political system in which a country's trade and industry are controlled by private owners for profit rather than by the state. So private meaning it could be you, it could be me. It's just not, the US government that gets to get everything, or it's not China who gets to collect everything and then decide how much everybody else gets with it. It deals with reality of the world we live in, which is we're all individuals on this planet. And ideally, in a free society, or in free societies, right? Not everywhere is free, but a lot of places are. We should have the freedom to be able to, in a sense, go where we want as long as we're abiding by laws of these, different countries, and have trade with who we want, and ideally, freedom I think is the best way. I think if you look back through history, any societies that were constrained by governments, it didn't end well, and it never does, because people are not meant to be owned and controlled by people. That's crazy. So I want to give you guys my personal description, and I think that this is important to establish. So capitalism, in many ways, is responsible for, everything in this video, everything in the room you're in watching this, or on the train you're on watching this, everything around you, meaning all the clothes, or the devices, or this whiteboard behind me over here, or these picture frames, or even this plant, right? And what I mean by that is somebody, for example, let's take this this plant right here, right? So this plant, I came with the apartment, but I imagine the owner probably bought it for, I don't know, let's say $10, right? Seems reasonable for a fake plant to have at your house. So somebody decided to collect all the materials and make that vase, or they purchased that vase from somebody else, but they got the vase and then they got the plant in it, and to collect all those resources, it cost a certain amount of money for that person to do that. Let's say it was $3, right? I'm just picking a number because I don't know the exact numbers of this particular example. But let's say it cost $3, okay? Chances are it's hard for somebody right out of the gate with a brand new product to know exactly what people in the market will pay for it. So they guess, right? He can't sell it for $3, or he just wasted all of his time because he just got his $3 back, right? So somebody may say, he's selling it for $4, right? So then, if it starts selling like crazy at $4, the guy may raise the price. But oftentimes people go the other way, right? Well, let's say they'll start high. So let's say that vase that cost him $3, he tried to sell it to people for $30, and people would come in and they're like, "This is a nice vase, right? These are cool plants. How much is it? It's $30. Wow, that's quite a bit of money. I saw another vase down the street that was, $14, and the guy would go, okay, you know what, whatever. But then if enough people come in on their own free will, deciding that they want to walk into the guy's store, wherever they bought it at, or the person's store, and then they look at the plant and then they say, I'm not going to buy it, it's too much. The guy's going to go, God, I really need to lower the price on this, or else nobody's going to buy this, and I'm just going to be sitting here with this plant, which I don't want because I have a ton of them, and I want people to be happy with what they get. So what happens in a free market is there's the give and take, right? It's all negotiation. People start to adjust prices, and let's say he moves it down to 15. That's still not selling 14, 13, 12. It's selling a little bit, but he moves to 10, and all of a sudden almost every person who comes in the store, he sells it, and he goes, man, I'm making a great profit. It's 3 times what it cost me to put everything together and get it here. And people seem to be extremely happy with paying $10 for it. So that at its core is really what capitalism is. It is somebody collecting resources and providing a product or a service to somebody who on their own free will has the option to either buy that one or buy another if there is another. Oftentimes in the world we live in, when there's 7 billion people, things are changing so fast, and competition's a great thing, right? No matter what industry you're in, there is oftentimes always a competitor. Where capitalism goes wrong and becomes not capitalism anymore is when it moves to corporatism. Okay, so corporatism, in my opinion, is when a business uses the government to cheat or pass laws to help give them an unfair advantage in the free market over other competitors. And that doesn't seem really fair, right? So think about it like an NBA game, right? If you go watch the Lakers play the Mavericks, you are, let's say, a Lakers fan, and you have 5 guys versus 5 guys, and typically there's better people on one team, or there's one team has more better players or whatever it is, but ideally we want to just see the game happen, and then we see the result, and whatever happens. That's the free market. When it becomes a problem is when you start to notice the referees, and when we watch games and people get pissed and we're like, oh my God, why is he giving this guy this call? He's giving the team 20 extra points throughout the game on all these foul calls that should not be there. So I think that's a real world example, a non-business example of how corporatism comes into effect, because that's not even a fair game anymore, right? It's really 6-on-5 at that point, because the one team has the referee on their team who's helping them out, and the other 5 are just trying to compete. That's not what capitalism is, and the word has been hijacked by a lot of people for a number of reasons. Many people who, in my opinion, are in government are not good people. There are tons of people who are great people, right? And I can do a video on, at least speaking on the U.S., people who I feel that actually do a good job. But oftentimes, a lot of people who get in are lawyers. And lawyers, oftentimes, if you think about their past career, they're really good at making things take a long time, and they're really good at extracting as much money as possible from their client or the opposition. And that's sort of what happens in government. Things move really slow, and there's just all these facades and these fugazis to try to convince you that you need to pay, or you need to make other people pay, more taxes, so that the government can get the taxes first and then decide where it goes. But oftentimes, and this is maybe where I can bring it back to blockchain, why the government, or why any government really needs blockchain, is to enforce accountability throughout that process. Because oftentimes you look at the US, for example, and there was a press conference and there's $7 trillion that goes missing and no one knows where it is, right? It's because these things aren't trackable. So at the end of the day, I think if you look at any free society or any society that advanced, if you really look at the core from going of one level to another level where the average citizen is living longer and people are making better wages and ideally having freer choices, a lot of it stems from people being able to retain and keep what they earn, right? And I trust you and I trust me with the money I earn to do better with it than I trust some guy or some woman in another state or another part of the country who doesn't know me, doesn't know you. Because at the end of the day, you or I work, we spend our energy, we earn value for that, which we can do things in society. Then they take that money out of our pocket to this other area, and then we just pray and hope that that money comes back with equal value to which it could have provided in our life or other people's lives. And oftentimes, it does not. And that's why, again, I feel the word capitalism has been hijacked, because at its core, it's awesome, right? I mean, it's just saying that people can freely create products and services and sell them to other people at their own free will, and the best people will win, right? And oftentimes there isn't just one winner, right? And I think again, even not to just continue the rant going, but people look at libertarians, and a lot of people think libertarians just want no government and they want all this stuff, but that's anarchy or anarchism. Anarchists want no government. I think most of them, at least that you talk to. I wouldn't say that libertarians have a problem with government, but they want small and limited government, and they don't want the government to be able to enforce force on citizens to do certain things, because at the end of the day, it's just some entity that is dictating your life, and they don't really know you, and they don't really know the situation, and that's when it becomes problematic. The other part that sort of gets tossed in the mix, and this is the last part of this video, is income inequality. People talk about that, and income inequality means nothing, really. It just means that the income is not equal between two parties or more, right? But it doesn't factor in what job you have or how much you work, or is it a commission job or an hourly job, and all these different things. And they are completely different because they're providing different values to society, right? So clearly, the 17-year-old who just got a job at, let's say Taco Bell is going to earn a different income that is unequal to somebody who, let's say, manages all of California for a solar company and leads the sales division and has these milestones that if he hits it, he's going to make more money. Of course, they're going to have an income that is unequal, but that doesn't mean that the process was unequal. It just means that they're equal. Or that they're unequal. But then it gets lumped in and people say that for the same job, people make different money, which if you look through it, generally speaking, that's just not true. And so, again, I want to share my thoughts on this with you guys. I know some of you guys on the channel asked me to share a little bit more thoughts about other things. I hope that this video added some value to you guys. If it did, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you guys get alerted for all of my next videos that are coming out very soon. But I got to get to lunch. I'm going to a delicious restaurant down the street from me. Thank you guys so much. Comment below, tell me your thoughts, and I'll see you next time.